What is going on, guys? I am the Toxic Penguin, back with another Dead by Daylight video for you today. It is not a regular gameplay video. We're doing something a little bit different today and doing a discussion. And what I want to talk about today is the whole second chance perk meta that's going on at the moment, particularly for Survivor. The hypocritical thinking around the whole second chance perks and the whole concept of them. And just my thoughts and opinions and the input of some of the community members. So let's get into it. So just to lay a few ground rules, I guess we can call them, for this. A second chance perk is as simple as it sounds. It gives the user a second chance, usually to cover up a mistake, or basically if they're in a bad situation, this is like your get out of jail free card. So common perks would be, say, like borrow time, because if the survivor that just got unhooked gets hit again, instead of going down, they go into the deep wounds. There's your second chance. Unbreakable, you get put on the ground, you get left slugged on the ground, you can pick yourself back up. There's your second chance. That's kind of what we're talking about, just the perks that give you a second chance when things don't go your way. And my big issue with it in particular, this is my biggest issue, is the fact that the majority of the survivor perk meta, I say majority, not all perks, but the majority of survivor perks are second chance perks that are used frequently in the meta, and killers only have one genuine second chance perk, which is No One Escapes Death. And we all know, if we've played Dead by Daylight in some capacity, that it is probably the most hated on perk in the game. And me personally, I think it is a balanced perk and a good perk to run. Personally, not for me. It's an annoying perk, yes, I can see it from a survivor point of view. I don't want to come across as the whole killer main and not seeing it from survivor. It is very annoying to come up against as survivor. Is it broken? No. Is it ridiculously OP? No. Is it toxic? Not really. But then people cry about it all the time. It's a case of, oh, no wonder you're such a bad killer, you need nowhere, blah 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 blah. So a lot of survivors will bag on you for using the only second chance perk a killer has, because every other perk in the game for killer, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm not, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct here, and every other killer perk is not a second chance perk. It might have second chance elements, but at its core, No One Escapes Death is the only second chance perk. So to help me out with this video, I uploaded a Google form to my community to fill out if they wanted to help with some of the questions and points I was going to raise with this video. So one of the questions I asked was, how do you feel about the perk Hex No One Escapes Death? And the 5 responses I had was too strong, powerful but balanced, perfectly balanced, weak but balanced, and too weak. And 58% of people said it was powerful but balanced, 25% said it was perfectly balanced, 8% said it was weak but balanced, and then 8% also said it was too strong. So despite it being one of the most hated on perks and seen by a lot of the community as being completely overpowered and broken and should be removed in its entirely from the game, 92% of the people that answered this survey said it was balanced in some description. A lot of them said it was powerful, yes, but there's a lot of powerful perks. Most of the perks in the game are pretty powerful in their own right, but 92% of people said it was a balanced perk, and 92% is a pretty large number. So switching off of NOED, which we'll come back to later, one of the other questions I asked is, what 4 survivor perks do you see others run the most? So I have a community that has a variety of ranks. A lot of them are sort of red ranks, some of them newer players, some of them in the middle. So it's good to get a kind of a gauge to see where different people are at. And the results, 75% of people see Decisive Strike, 67% see Dead Hard as well as Adrenaline, 50% see Borrow Time, and then the only other one above 20% was Spine Chill at Self-Care, sorry, not Spine Chill, at 25%. And you'll notice that those 5 perks are all second chance perks. Decisive Strike is the definition of a second chance perk. You get hooked, get saved, get downed again quickly after being unhooked, and you get a free escape if you hit a skill check, which I have no issues with an anti-tunnel perk. I just don't think it was executed very well, which I'll come back to later. But you've also got Dead Hard. Get yourself in a sticky situation, press one button and you can make that extra distance to get to a window, to a pallet, and buy yourself so much more time because you played a loop incorrectly. Then you've got Adrenaline. It heals you at the end of the game. So it's second chance, although it's a lot more situational and it's sort of pushing it a bit, but still, it's there. It heals you up at the end of the game if you've been hit. And it also gives you a 5-second sprint burst. So if you're being chased and it triggers, well, that will end the chase most of the time. And then Borrow Time, if the person that just got saved gets hit, they go into deep wounds instead of going down. Buys the team time. And then Self-Care, you get injured, you heal yourself back up. There's your second chance, because you can do that an infinite amount of times. But I want to go back to a minute to Decisive and what my issue with Decisive Strike is. Now, before people get upset at me for saying that Decisive Strike was executed poorly, I want to reiterate, because I said it before, I want to make sure it's clear. The concept of an anti-tunnel perk is great. I love the fact that there is anti-tunnel perks in the game. I just don't think Decisive was executed well, because two reasons. If a survivor has Decisive active, they can jump on a generator and there is very little a killer can do about it. You either let them work on the generator because you don't want to be hit with Decisive Strike, you can slug them, or you can pick them up and get hit by Decisive. Either way, you're going to get punished for it. You get punished for letting them do gens, you get punished by leaving them on the ground and they're going to basically have a go at you about it because it's a toxic thing to do, or you get punished by being hit with Decisive Strike, where a defensive perk is being used for an aggressive use. So I asked the community, how do you feel about the perk Decisive Strike? 50% said it was powerful but balanced. 25% said it was too strong. 17% said it was perfectly balanced. And 8% said it was too weak. My suggested change for Decisive Strike, and it's one I've seen, I think it was Scott Jund said it in a video, that the timer should be 30 seconds instead of 60. If you get chased at all, the timer pauses, and if either another survivor gets hooked, you heal up another survivor or yourself, or you work on a generator, the perk deactivates. So that way if you get chased, doesn't matter how long you get chased for, you'll still be able to use your Decisive because you've been actively tunneled. But if you work on a generator or heal someone, whether it's yourself or someone else, you've progressed the game forward. So you're not being tunneled if you're able to do that. And if the killer goes and hooks someone else, clearly they're not tunneling you because they're with another survivor. So I think that's balanced. It keeps the whole anti-tunnel aspect, because if you get tunneled, you get the free escape. But where a lot of these survivors use it as an aggression perk, they use it as a 60 seconds of where the killer can do very little to touch me. It negates that. It makes it a purely defensive perk, and I think that would be great for the game. Now the big issue I have with these second chance perks is not the perks individually. Most of these perks individually are great, work as intended, they're great perks. It's when they're used in conjunction with one another. The build I've been using this whole video: Borrow Time, Decisive Strike, Unbreakable, Dead Hard. If you get a 4-man Swift in comms with this build, good luck. Unless you're a pro nurse, spirit, maybe a huntress or an Oni, but like, you gotta be real top level, and if you're not one of those, good luck. Because the way this build works, say someone gets injured, You just dead hard when you make a mistake, get to a pallet or a window, buy your team more times while they're chugging out the generators. You get hooked, no worries, your friends with borrowed time will come in and save you. Oh look, I'm gonna go down in the killer's face. If they pick me up, I've got Decisive Strike. If they leave me, I've got Unbreakable. That combo alone, Unbreakable and Decisive, is one of the most powerful combos of perks in the game. Because for 60 seconds after you're unhooked, you're immortal. The killer, say the survivor goes on a gen. The killer has 3 options. Pick them up off the gen, hit with Decisive. Leave them, lose the gen. Or you slug them, Unbreakable. No matter what you do, the survivor has a counter to it. And if you get a 4-man survivor with friends that run at least that combo, let alone this whole build, unless you're lucky enough to have the times between when Decisive's active overlap with the other survivors, so 2 survivors have Decisive active at once or whatever, but if you're not lucky enough to have that, that is 4 minutes. The survivors are untouchable. And a gen takes 80 seconds to do by yourself. And 4 minutes, some games are done in 6 minutes. So 4 minutes when you can't do a thing to the survivors is huge. So my issue isn't the use of second chance perks. There's a lot of them and they can get annoying, but individually they're fine. It's when you stack them with one another and the way they work together, some of these perks are absurd. And that's the issue I dead set have. It's not the concept, second chance perks are fine. It's just when they're used with one another, which then I don't understand. Going back to Know It. Know It is the one second chance perk killers have. It's the one true second chance perk. And how many times do you see the survivors bitch and moan about it? Oh, you're so bad killer, no wonder you need nowhere to get yourself a kill, you really need to rely on that kind of perk. Yet you see survivors that rely on dead hard for when they make a mistake looping. And all these other second chance perks. And then the ones that are meant to be used defensively are used as an aggression perk. And I know I'm copying myself from what I said earlier, sound like a broken record. But the survivors have a variety of perks to rely on for a second chance, and yet they will more than happily shoot down killers for running Know It. I tried to get some footage of me running Know It for the video, and I couldn't, because Know It for me didn't do too much. I was playing on Doctor, and the only game I got Know It to trigger, it didn't really change anything. I got some lovely salts at the end of the game though, but Know It is not an overpowered perk. The game in question, I got a 3k. I would have still got a 3k either way. All it did was just help me get that final hook faster. The same survivor would have still got out, the result wouldn't have changed, it just sped up the game. And I know you're going to get some killers that go and slug the living crap out of everyone. And that's when Know It can be very powerful, but still not broken. And I mean, there's a few killers now that have insta-down in their base kit. Some killers like Deathslinger and Huntress have insta-downs as an add-on. And people get upset that they have an insta-down perk when, admittedly, the other perks that cause insta-downs, make your choice. It's an anti-tunnel perk, effectively. It's try to encourage people to go after the savior, not the one that got saved, because it's an insta-down. Devour Hope, it's high risk, high reward. Get that up and running, you deserve to get the exposed and Moris. Haunted Grounds, they inflicted upon themselves. All these exposed perks are fine, but because Know It is an endgame perk, people cry about it. It's like, oh, we did all the gens quickly and now you had to rely on Know It. Just get better at the game. when survivors have more second chance perks than killer. That's the point I'm trying to make. Tell me what you think about it. This video is probably a bit of a mess, I'm sorry. It's late at night when I'm recording this and I need to head to bed. So if you like this discussion, feel free to drop a like on the video. Tell me in the comments what you think, what your thoughts are, whether or not I have a good point about these second chance perks, whether or not I'm completely full of BS. Just let me know what you think. Start a discussion. If you enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel. I post several times a week, predominantly DBD, so if you like DBD, you'll like this. And until next time, peace out.